Hello, welcome to the Echo Tips podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about a new feature on the Amazon Echo line of devices that once again is connected with security and emergency contacts. So in Season 1, we talked about some skills that might be able to help you in this regard, or additional accessories you could get for your Echo that could maybe even connect it to the telephone line and things like that. But today we're going to zero in on this new feature, which I'll just say is A-Lady for emergency contacts, or A-Lady emergency contacts, and we're going to learn a little bit about how that is and how you can configure an emergency contact that in turn you can have your Echo contact in the event that you need help. But before we get into that and how all that works, we're going to go to a brief message about our podcast, and then we'll be right back. This episode is brought to you by the New Vision program at Goodwill. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission services help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Hello, welcome back to the Echo Tips podcast. As we mentioned earlier, today we're going to be talking about a new feature on the Amazon Echo line of devices that is connected with emergency contact features. So, since time immemorial, since the beginning of the Echo, there's been little kludgy solutions for this that I couldn't find an episode where we specifically discussed it, but I know with students in the past I had discussed this. Skills that might help you with this, like Ask My Buddy and the like. But before I get too deep into that, I would like to welcome our returning listeners. We really appreciate your support, and please, by all means, continue to share the podcast with others on social media, or like us on Twitter or Facebook, or if you have ideas for future episodes, you can always hit us up on Facebook or the like. And if you're interested in sponsorship opportunities, you can even contact our development team at development@goodwillvalleys.com. Now, for those that are listening for the very first time, I'd like to welcome you. We have little nuggetized episodes where we try to teach people new things on the Echo, especially as new features are added that may be a benefit to many. And my name is David Ward. I'm an assistive technology instructor with the New Vision program, so it's good to have you with us as well. So, as I mentioned, in times past, there were kludgy solutions for this. Like if you wanted to set up an Echo up maybe for, maybe you had a parent or family member who was a senior, and you wanted to maybe have a mechanism for them to be able to call you if there was an emergency or something like that, or alert you or the like. And now, Ask My Buddy was an early solution. I checked, it's still on the skill store, and you could configure that with a third-party account. And I don't think it cost anything then. It probably still doesn't now, but it's possible. It is a third-party thing. And it would send a text message, and I think even like an audio note, maybe a call to the individual you're trying. You would set up maybe a list of 2 or 3 contacts as emergency contacts. Now, subsequently, some accessories came out for the Echo that allowed them the utility of contacting emergency services, namely through an appliance you could plug into your actual landline that your Echo could make phone calls through, and hence it could call 911. But typically, with just the VoIP or free internet calling, it is not enabled for 911 or emergency services. Historically, some people have tried to work around that a little bit by maybe putting in the phone number for the local police or fire department or something like that. Okay, so anyway, this leads up to this new feature, which is actually not a third-party skill or any of the like. And by the way, I'm going to be mentioning the A name a lot, so if you have an Echo within hearing distance of me, you may want to shut its ears off so I don't trigger your Echoes at home. But this is natively built in by Amazon now, and so we're going to just pull up the web page about that talks a little bit about that. And hopefully now that you've got your ears muted, I can say the actual proper name of this term. It's called the well, this is under the help and customer service section where I'm reading right off of their website, all about the here it's called the what is an Alexa emergency contact. So it's basically answering that question. So the term here is Alexa emergency contact. And so it defines it here simply. It says Alexa will attempt to call and text your emergency contact when you or someone in your house says yada yada yada. And actually there's several different phrases they could say, and I'm going to give you each one of those. Well, I might as well give you those now. You could say, "Hey lady, call for help." You could say, "Alexa, call my emergency contact." You could say, "Alexa, call my contact for help." And you could say, "Alexa, call my," no, let me get that right. "Alexa, call my help contact." Okay, now something I've discerned when trying to set this up is if you did have a contact, like I have like a tech support contact, helpline, and stuff like that. If you had the term help maybe in a contact, you may run into some problems with this. So I had to kind of rejigger my address a little book and take some things out that had the term help in them. And I originally tried to set it up with a family member, and then I set it up with myself just so I could see and stop bugging them while I was testing this feature for y'all. But it also mentions here a little more about this service. It says, after you've registered for Alexa communication and add your contacts, you can select any contact with it mentions here a supported U.S. number as an emergency contact in the Alexa app. So it looks at present this is mostly a United States-based feature with Alexa phone numbers here in the United States. Now, I have tested this. Pretty cool. So if you were to open the Alexa app on your phone or tablet, you would go to the Communications tab, and hopefully you've already set it up and it's synchronizing your address book from your phone or smartphone device. And from there you can go into an individual contact, and then you can need to scroll down their list of, address and phone numbers and stuff. And I think it's near the bottom where you can designate them as an emergency contact. And you'll tap on that and you'll get a little pop-up that asks for confirmation. Now, I thought at one point they used to send a confirmation text message to them first. I don't think they do that now, because when I set myself up, I didn't get a confirmation email. It just went straight away and worked. There is, however, some additional notes here on the website about this service. It says, here's a few bulleted points. It says, this service is, of course, not a substitute for emergency contacts. I think our emergency services or response services, so like 911 here in the United States. I think we probably all knew that. It says, if your Echo device isn't connected to Wi-Fi or a phone number is incorrect, Alexa is unable to call or text your emergency contact. So obviously, there's some fragility in here. If for some reason your Wi-Fi is out or you type the phone number in wrong, okay, won't work. It also says, bulleted point, if your emergency contact opts out from receiving messages or they have a landline number, obviously here in the U.S. they won't get a text message if they have a landline. That just gives you a little idea of some of the caveats. And there's additional things mentioned here as well. Certain numbers it won't call, like premium rate numbers and 3-digit short codes and different things like that, which I think we all well understood that. But anyway, so it's pretty cool. So let me just demonstrate it real quick. And I set it up with my phone, so you should hear my phone chirp here in the background as well. And as I said, I'm not recording this in in a studio just in my classroom, so the audio may not be optimal, and I didn't get a chance to mic this Echo perfectly. But I'm going to turn her ears on, and then we'll try one of these phrases. Let's try, Alexa, call my emergency contact.
Calling your emergency contact now.
Okay, so there's my phone. Oh, and it's ringing it too. Okay, cool. And that's my phone ringing in the background. Alexa, hang up. Okay. So there we go. It was that easy, and it worked. If I can stop my phone from talking, which will be a minor miracle. Anyway, so it just gives you a little idea of how that works. And, this may, as it mentions, is not a foolproof thing, and, emergency services have their place, but I honestly have had a former student and program participant in one of our former grants where we bought Amazon Echoes for seniors, and it was a real lifesaver to him. He, I believe, fell and broke a bone and was not doing very well health-wise anyway. And he was able to use his Echo to contact his daughter. He wasn't using this specific feature, but because he was kind of incapacitated, couldn't reach the phone, he could just yell at the Echo, and it was able to place a call. His daughter was able to come over and help him get to the hospital, and I think maybe call an ambulance too. I can't remember what happened, but anyway. So there's some real practical options here, and this is a layered approach. To safety, there's different rings to this. Well, anyway, so that was just a brief demonstration, and I hope that might serve you in a practical way, especially if you have maybe senior family members or the like. It just might be a real powerful tool for you. Anyway, that will bring this episode to a close. It's time to start practicing some of the many things that you've learned. Turn your ears back on in your Echo, and we thank you for listening.
Thanks, Dave. In conclusion, let me tell you a thing or two. This episode is brought to you by New Vision at Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, and it is also made possible in part by a grant from Community Foundation serving Western Virginia. And there's more. We're also grateful for the kind use of WVTF Studios. New Vision is a program of Goodwill that provides information services and assistive technology training to individuals with visual impairments living in Southwest Virginia. For more information, check out our website at goodwillvalleys.com/newvision, with no spaces. Goodwill Industries of the Valleys is a nonprofit organization serving the New River, Roanoke, and Shenandoah Valleys of Virginia. Goodwill's mission programs help individuals with disabilities and disadvantages to get back to work and gain greater independence. These shows are provided for educational purposes. This podcast may not be retransmitted, sold, or reproduced without written permission from New Vision. Thanks for listening.